Life can be overwhelming at times, and the weight of the world may seem too much to bear. Every step you take may feel heavier than the last, especially during difficult periods such as loss, uncertainty, or trials that make you question how much more you can endure. In these moments, it may seem like peace is unattainable, but right in the midst of turmoil, there can be an unexplainable calm that washes over you. This peace doesn't come because your problems are solved or your situation changes. It's a peace that persists despite the circumstances, one that cannot be understood by the human mind. It doesn't come from the world, it comes from somewhere deeper. A peace that surpasses all understanding, as described in Scripture, guarding your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. This peace enters your soul gently, like a quiet river, washing away fear, worry, and doubt. It is a peace that doesn't make sense to the rational mind, as your situation hasn't changed, and the storm may still be raging, but inside there is a sense of calm. You may feel a whisper in your heart or an invisible hand holding you, offering comfort and safety. This is the presence of angels. In times of great distress, God sends His messengers to bring peace to our troubled hearts. They don't always speak to us in words, but their presence is deeply felt, assuring us that God is in control. This peace often arrives exactly when we need it, reminding us that we are not alone. It is a peace that says, "I've got you," and the angels remind us of God's everlasting love. If you've experienced this peace, you know it cannot be manufactured or explained. It's a gift from God delivered by His angels. When it happens, you can rest assured that God has sent His messengers to be with you, offering comfort and protection in your time of need. At times, we might feel an unexpected wave of compassion, a love that seems to spring from deep within, urging us to help a stranger or show kindness when it requires sacrifice. This love isn't from our own strength. It feels as though we've been nudged by something greater than ourselves. We are called to love our neighbors, but in these moments, it feels like a divine intervention. When we experience this deep compassion, it may be a sign that angels are at work, prompting us to act with kindness, offer mercy, forgive, or share compassion when it's most needed. This love may go beyond our natural inclination, as we find ourselves forgiving those who hurt us, or reaching out to those who wronged us. This is the work of angels, guiding us to align with God's heart and reflect the love of Christ. In times of profound compassion, we may feel overwhelmed by God's love and grace, moving us to acts of grace that reflect His love for all creation. Angels are near, guiding us to embody God's love, and in doing so, we find joy, peace, and fulfillment. Compassion is not just about helping others. It has a profound effect on us as well, drawing us closer to God's purpose for our lives. The presence of angels stirs us towards selflessness and moves us to love beyond measure. When we experience waves of compassion, it's like a reminder that God's love flows through us, and we are meant to share it with the world. Even when we face emotional or spiritual challenges, angels stand guard, offering strength and protection, guiding us away from harm and ensuring our safety. There are moments when we feel the divine presence, whether in prayer or through a subtle shift in the environment. It may feel like an overwhelming sense of peace, or a moment when you sense that you are not alone. These moments remind us that we are being guided, protected, and comforted by angels. Angels are God's messengers, sent to be near us and guide us through life's challenges. If you have ever experienced the presence of angels, whether through protection, guidance, or love, you know it is a divine gift. These moments are not coincidences, but a clear sign that God is with us, watching over us, and sending His angels to minister to our needs. Whether it's through a sudden urge to pray, or a mysterious encounter with a stranger, angels are at work behind the scenes, guiding us, protecting us, and offering us peace and comfort in times of need. Remember that God's love is always with you, and His angels are never far away. In the quiet moments of life, when the chaos of the world seems to overwhelm us, we often find ourselves yearning for peace. It's in these times of turmoil, when nothing seems certain, that God's love quietly finds its way into our hearts, offering a deep and lasting peace that transcends our understanding. This peace is not an external force that comes from the resolution of our problems, nor is it tied to any change in our circumstances. It's a peace that exists despite our situation, a comfort that envelops us when all seems lost. It is a divine peace, one that comes from a place far deeper than we can fathom, touching our hearts in ways that go beyond the natural world. We may not fully understand why it comes or where it originates, but in those moments we are certain of one thing: we are not alone. It is in the midst of our struggles that God sends his messengers, angels, to bring peace to our hearts. These messengers may not always speak to us directly, but their presence is undeniable. They remind us that God's love is ever present, even when everything around us seems to fall apart. The angels are there, gently guiding us toward trust, helping us to let go of our fears, and reassuring us that despite the storm raging within and around us, God is in control. The presence of angels may feel subtle at times, like a whisper in the heart or a fleeting moment of calm, but it is in these moments that we feel God's presence most powerfully. It is as if his angels are surrounding us, protecting us, and quietly urging us to trust in him. We might not always see them, but we feel their gentle touch, reminding us that we are cared for by a love that knows no bounds. When we experience this kind of peace, we are reminded that we are part of something much greater than ourselves. We are part of God's divine plan, and he is always at work in our lives. Even in our darkest moments, when we feel lost, broken, or overwhelmed, the peace that passes all understanding enters our hearts, and we are reminded that we are held in the hands of a loving. This peace is a reflection of God's deep, unwavering love for us. It's not a peace that can be earned or manufactured by human effort. It's a gift from God, delivered through his angels, who act as his messengers, guiding us and helping us find solace in times of distress. When we face emotional, spiritual, or physical challenges, it's easy to feel isolated, to believe that no one understands or cares about our struggles. But in those moments, God sends his angels to remind us that we are not forgotten. Whether it's a feeling of comfort in the quiet of the night, a moment of clarity in the midst of confusion, or a sudden sense of peace that washes over us, the angels are near, offering their care and support when we need it most. These moments of peace are often accompanied by a deep sense of awe. It's as if the very atmosphere around us changes, becoming charged with the presence of God. We may feel as though we are standing on holy ground, with the weight of the world momentarily lifted from our shoulders. This divine peace fills us with a sense of purpose, reminding us that no matter how difficult the journey may be, we are walking it with God by our side, his angels guiding every step. As we move through life, we are bound to face moments of uncertainty, fear, but in these moments, we can be sure that God's angels are near, ready to offer us the comfort and strength we need to keep going. We may not always recognize them, but we can feel their presence, especially when we need it most. They are the silent protectors, watching over us, ensuring that we are safe from harm, whether it's a near miss on the road or a sudden shift in circumstances that prevents a tragedy. The protection of angels is often unseen but deeply felt. These angels act as God's agents of protection, stepping in when we need them, guiding us away from danger, and helping us find our way when all seems lost. There are times when we experience moments of grace that seem to come out of nowhere, when we are offered the help, comfort, or insight that we need just when we need it. These moments often feel like divine intervention, as if someone is stepping into our lives at just the right moment to offer the help we could never have orchestrated ourselves. It may be a kind word from a stranger, a piece of advice that brings clarity to our confusion, or a sudden opportunity that opens up when we least expect it. Angels work behind the scenes, orchestrating these moments of grace, ensuring that we receive the help we need, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual. Sometimes we may find ourselves in situations where the help we receive seems almost supernatural, as if it's coming from a source beyond ourselves. These moments often leave us in awe, with a sense of gratitude and wonder at the way God's angels work in our lives. It's as though they are waiting for the right moment to step in, guiding us to where we need to be, offering us the comfort and strength that only God can provide. These divine moments serve as reminders that we are not alone. Whether it's a sense of protection, a feeling of comfort, or a sudden nudge to pray, the presence of angels in our lives is always felt, even if we don't always see them. Their work may be subtle, but it is always powerful, and it serves as a reminder that God's love is always with us, guiding us and helping us along the way. As we walk through life, we may encounter people who seem to appear at just the right moment, offering the help, encouragement, or advice we need. These encounters may feel serendipitous, as if God has sent them specifically to help us. It's in these moments that we can be sure that angels are working behind the scenes, using ordinary people to carry out God's will and offer us the support we need. These encounters remind us that God is always working in our lives, even when we don't see it. The angels are always near, offering us peace, comfort, and guidance when we need it most. Whether it's through a moment of peace, a divine intervention, or the kindness of a stranger, we can be sure that we are never truly alone. God's angels are always with us, watching over us, guiding us, and bringing us closer to His heart. In life, there are moments when everything feels like it is falling apart, when the weight of the world becomes so heavy that we can barely take the next step. It's in those moments when we feel most vulnerable that the peace we long for seems out of reach. Yet even in the darkest of times, God's presence can still be felt. It may not come in the way we expect, and it certainly doesn't arrive because our problems are solved, but the divine peace that envelops us in these moments is not of this world. It is a peace that transcends all understanding, a peace that fills the gaps where anxiety, fear, and worry once lived. This peace is not based on circumstances, but on a deep trust that God is with us in our struggle, walking beside us every step of the way. It's a peace that whispers to our hearts in times of doubt, reminding us that we are never alone, even when we feel lost. There are times when we can sense the presence of angels, not in dramatic, obvious ways, but in subtle, quiet moments that bring us comfort and assurance. It might be the sudden sense of peace that washes over us when we're facing a difficult decision, or the gentle nudge that leads us to act in kindness when we would otherwise hesitate. The angels are always with us, guiding us, reminding us that God's love is steadfast and eternal. Even when we feel as though the world is closing in, the peace from the angels reminds us that God's promises are always true. These messengers of God are active in our lives, not just in moments of crisis, but also in times of peace. They are there, quietly working behind the scenes, nudging us to trust in God's plan for us. And as we lean into this trust, we begin to feel more grounded, more certain that everything will be okay. The world may not change overnight, and our circumstances may not immediately improve, but our hearts begin to shift. This peace settles deep within, reminding us that the storm will eventually pass, that God's plan for us is always for good, even when we cannot see the way forward. The presence of angels in our lives is a beautiful and often humbling experience. In our moments of greatest need, when we feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or broken, God's messengers show up, not always with grand gestures, but in quiet, powerful ways. Whether through the appearance of a comforting thought, a sudden sense of peace, or the unexpected support of a friend, the angels are there. They guide us toward the light, away from the fear and darkness that often cloud our vision. They help us to navigate the storms of life with grace, offering comfort when we need it most. It's as though the angels are speaking directly to our hearts, reminding us that God is with us, and He is actively working for our good. They are present in every moment of our lives, providing the strength we need to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. As we experience these moments of divine intervention, we begin to realize that we are never truly alone. The angels are always near, working in ways that we may not fully understand, but always bringing us closer to the heart of God. In the midst of our struggles, they help us see God's hand at work in our lives, guiding us toward His perfect will. This divine intervention often comes at the most unexpected times, offering us the peace and clarity we need just when we need it. It might be a quiet voice that whispers to us, urging us to pray or to trust in God's timing. Or it might be a sudden sense of calm that washes over us, reminding us that God is in control, even when we can't see the way forward. These moments are the work of angels, sent to remind us of God's presence and love, especially in times of uncertainty. When we feel most vulnerable, the angels are there, offering us protection, comfort, and guidance. We may not always recognize them, but their presence is unmistakable. They are the silent warriors who stand guard over us, guiding us through the most difficult moments of our lives. Whether we're facing physical danger, emotional distress, or spiritual struggles, the angels are there, offering their care and support. Their protection may come in the form of a sudden change in circumstances, a redirection of our path that helps us avoid harm, or a quiet, reassuring thought that reminds us we are not alone. In times of physical danger, we often experience a profound sense of safety, even when the world around us seems to be falling apart. It may feel as though an invisible hand is holding us, guiding us away from harm, and keeping us safe. The angels are always present, working in ways that we may not see, but always protecting us when we need it most. The Bible reminds us that God sends His angels to watch over us and to guide us in all our ways. This promise is a reminder that we are never alone, even when we face danger or uncertainty. God's angels are always near, offering us the strength and courage we need to face whatever comes our way. And even when we don't see them, we can feel their presence. Whether it's through a sudden sense of peace, a nudge to act in kindness, or the comforting words of a friend, the angels are always there, quietly working behind the scenes to bring us closer to God's will. In times of great distress, the angels remind us that we are not forgotten. They remind us that God's love for us is unshakable and that He will never leave us. Their presence in our lives is a constant source of comfort, reminding us that we are deeply loved and cared for by a God who knows us intimately. As we face the challenges of life, we can take comfort in the knowledge that the angels are always near, guiding us, protecting us, and bringing us peace when we need it most. Their work may be subtle, but it is always powerful, and it is always a reminder that God's love is with us, no matter what we are facing. Whether in moments of peace or in the midst of the storm, the angels are there, bringing us comfort, strength, and guidance. And as we lean into that peace, we are reminded that we are not walking this journey alone. The angels are with us, guiding us every step of the way, helping us to trust in God's plan and to rest in His perfect peace. When we open our hearts to the presence of angels, we begin to feel the peace that surpasses all understanding. It fills our hearts with a deep sense of calm, knowing that no matter what we face, God's love will carry us through. It is in those moments when the world around us is quiet and our hearts are still that we feel God's presence most profoundly. His angels are with us, offering us comfort, protection, and peace, guiding us toward His perfect will for our lives. And in those moments, we can rest in the assurance that we are never truly alone. In the midst of life's most challenging moments, when the weight of fear, doubt, and uncertainty clouds our vision, there is a quiet assurance that comes from knowing we are not alone. It's a knowing that runs deep within our spirit, a sense that God is with us, watching over us, even when our circumstances feel impossible. In these moments, God's presence becomes so real, even though we may not always recognize it at first. The angels, messengers of His divine love, are constantly working behind the scenes, providing the strength we need to endure, offering comfort when our hearts are heavy, and leading us toward peace. There are times when this divine peace flows in like a river, gentle yet unyielding. It's a peace that moves quietly through our hearts, sweeping away the clutter of worry and filling us with an overwhelming sense of trust. It's a trust that doesn't rely on our understanding or our ability to change the world around us. Rather, it is a trust that comes from knowing that God's plan for us is greater than any trial we may face. In the quiet moments when everything around us feels still, we can sense the angel's presence, silently reminding us that we are cared for, that God's love is unwavering, and that His promises are always true. They bring us the peace that goes beyond human comprehension, allowing us to rest in the assurance that we are held in the hands of a loving Father. We may not always see the angels, but their influence is felt deeply in the way we navigate life's ups and downs. They guide our hearts, redirect our steps, and nudge us toward actions that reflect the heart of God. Their presence is like a quiet whisper, a gentle urging to trust, to forgive, and to love. These whispers often lead us toward acts of kindness, acts that reflect the love of Christ. It might be forgiving someone who has wronged us, or reaching out to someone in need, even when we feel reluctant. In these moments, the angels are at work, guiding our hearts to align with God's will and to reflect His love to the world around. The divine love that flows through the angels is transformative, not only for those we help, but for ourselves as well. When we respond to their guidance, when we allow the peace they offer to fill our hearts, we begin to experience a deeper connection to God. This connection transcends the ordinary, allowing us to see the world and our lives through the lens of God's love. We begin to understand that every encounter, every challenge, and every blessing has purpose, that we are part of a grand design created by a loving Creator. The angels' work in our lives helps us to see that we are not just isolated individuals trying to make it through life on our own. Instead, we are members of a much larger family, a family connected by God's love. When we open ourselves to the presence of angels, we allow God's love to flow through us in ways that we never thought possible. The angels guide us to a deeper understanding of God's heart, and in doing so, they help us align our hearts with Him. They help us to trust, to surrender, and to let go of the things that hold us back from fully embracing God's plan for our lives. The guidance of angels is not always dramatic, and their presence is often felt in the quiet moments when we least expect it. It's in the stillness of the night, in the quiet of our hearts, that we can sense their presence most profoundly. In those moments when everything else fades away, we can hear the gentle whispers of God's messengers, reminding us that we are loved, we are cared for, and we are never alone. The angels don't just guide us during times of peace, they are especially present in our times of struggle. In the midst of emotional turmoil, when our hearts feel heavy and our minds are clouded with doubt, the angels are there, lifting us up and pointing us toward the hope that lies in God's promise. They help us to see that even in our darkest moments, God is still at work, bringing us closer to Him, refining us and preparing us for something greater. Through the angels, we receive the strength to carry on, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. They are the quiet warriors who stand guard over us, helping us navigate life's challenges and offering protection when we need it most. The Bible reminds us that God's angels are always near, always watching over us, guiding us, and offering us the peace that passes all understanding. When we face danger, when we feel overwhelmed, or when we simply don't know where to turn, the angels step in, offering us the comfort and protection that we need to carry on. In those moments when we are at our lowest, we can trust that God has sent His messengers to guide us and to remind us that we are never truly alone. There are times when the angels' work in our lives is so subtle that we may not even recognize it, but it is always there. Whether through a sudden change of heart, a feeling of reassurance, or the timely support of a friend, the angels are constantly working behind the scenes to guide us and protect us. They are the unseen force that helps us find our way when we feel lost, and they are the comforting presence that brings us peace when we need it most. As we journey through life, we will encounter many moments that challenge us and push us to our limit. But in those moments, we can trust that the angels are near, offering us the peace, comfort, and strength we need to keep going. It may not always be in the way we expect, and it may not always make sense according to our circumstances, but the peace that comes from the angels is a reminder that God is always with us, watching over us, and leading us toward His perfect will. As we open our hearts to the presence of angels, we begin to experience a deep, unshakable peace that transcends all understanding. It is a peace that doesn't rely on our circumstances, but on the presence of God in our life. In those moments when we feel overwhelmed by life's challenges, the angels are there, offering us comfort and peace, guiding us toward the light of God's love. And as we rest in that peace, we can trust that no matter what we face, God's love will carry us. The angels remind us that we are never alone, that we are always held in the loving hands of our Creator, and that His love will never fail. In the moments when life seems to be unraveling, when the weight of fear and uncertainty presses down so heavily on our hearts, we may wonder where to turn, what to do, or even if we have the strength to keep moving forward. It's during these times of great trial that we may feel utterly alone, as if the world is closing in and there is no escape from the storm. But even in those moments of deep despair, there is a quiet, unwavering truth that we can hold on to. God is with us, and His angels are always present, quietly working to bring us peace, hope, and guidance. It is in those moments when everything seems lost that we can sense the divine touch that reminds us we are never truly alone. The angels, though unseen, are working tirelessly to lead us through the chaos, offering us a steady presence in the midst of uncertainty. Their work is often subtle, yet powerful, as they guide us toward the right choices, lead us to the people we need, and help us find our way even when the road ahead is unclear. They offer us whispers of encouragement in times of doubt, urging us to trust in God's plan, even when we can't see the outcome. The peace that we experience during these times doesn't come from our circumstances changing, nor from the resolution of our problem. It's not a peace that can be created by human effort or understood by the rational mind. It is a peace that transcends understanding, a peace that is deeply rooted in the knowledge that God is sovereign and He is at work in our lives. It is the kind of peace that allows us to rest in His presence, knowing that despite the turmoil around us, we are held in His hand. As we walk through the challenges of life, we may not always understand why certain things happen or why the road is so difficult, but the peace that God gives us allows us to rest, to trust, and to move forward with faith. It is through the angels that this peace is often made known to us. They are the ones who help us let go of the burden of fear and anxiety, replacing it with a calm assurance that God is in control. Whether through a quiet nudge that redirects our path or the comforting presence of a friend who offers just the right words of encouragement. The angels are always at work, leading us to the peace that God has promised. There are times when we can feel their presence most acutely, when they bring comfort to our hearts, and we feel a sense of being held and cared for by something greater than ourselves. This presence may not always be tangible, but it is deeply felt. In times of emotional distress, when our hearts are heavy with sorrow, or when we find ourselves questioning God's plan for our lives, the angels step in, offering us a sense of comfort and assurance that we are loved. They remind us that we are not alone, that God is with us, and that His love is unshakable. This love is what fuels the peace that we experience. It is a peace that transcends all understanding, a peace that holds us steady in the face of uncertainty, a peace that assures us that we are being carried through the storm. Even when the winds of life are howling around us, there is a deep sense of calm that comes from knowing that we are not walking this journey alone. It is the angels, God's messengers, who stand guard over us, guiding us with wisdom, offering us the strength we need, and reminding us of God's eternal love. Their presence is a constant reminder that God is watching over us, that He is intimately involved in the details of our lives, and that He has a plan for us that is far greater than anything we can see in the present moment. The angels also bring peace in the moments when we feel spiritually weary, when our faith is shaken, and when we wonder how we can possibly go on. Their presence brings us back to a place of trust, helping us to remember that we are not alone, that God has not abandoned us, and that His love is ever present. In these moments, the peace that the angels bring is like a salve for our weary souls, soothing our hearts and minds, and restoring our strength to face whatever lies ahead. It's in these moments that we can feel the love of God wrapped around us, carried through the angels, reminding us that we are cherished, that we are worthy, and that we are never far from God's heart. The guidance of the angels is not always immediate or dramatic. Often their work is done quietly, in the background, where we may not even notice it until later. But when we look back on the challenges we faced, we can often see the hand of God at work, guiding us, protecting us, and leading us toward the path He has prepared for us. It's through their gentle nudges and the quiet whispers of encouragement that we are led back to peace, back to trust, and back to a deep assurance that God is with us, even in the midst of the storm. The angels are not only guides, but also protectors, standing guard over us when we face physical danger or emotional turmoil. They are there, providing us with a sense of safety, even when we can't see them. It's in those moments of deep vulnerability that we feel their presence most acute. Whether it's in a dangerous situation where we feel a sudden sense of calm, or in a moment of emotional distress where we feel a comforting touch, the angels are working behind the scenes to keep us safe, to keep us grounded, and to remind us that we are held in God's hand. In moments of uncertainty, when we don't know what to do, or when the future seems too uncertain to navigate, the angels guide us toward peace by helping us trust in God's plan. They encourage us to surrender our worries, our fears, and our doubts to God, trusting that He will carry us. Through the angels, God reminds us that His love is unchanging, that He is faithful to His promises, and that His peace is always available to us no matter the situation. This peace that the angels bring is not a fleeting feeling. It is not dependent on our circumstances, nor is it something we can create on our own. It is a divine gift, freely given by God, and it fills us with a calm assurance that surpasses all understanding. It is a peace that sustains us, that helps us endure the trials of life, and that guides us toward hope. When we experience this peace, we are reminded that no matter what we face, God's love will carry us through, and the angels will continue to guide us, protect us, and bring us closer to His perfect will. The angels are the messengers of God's love, His peace, and His guidance. They are always with us, offering us the strength to keep going, the peace to rest in, and the wisdom to follow God's plan. Through their work, we are reminded that we are not walking this journey alone, that God is with us every step of the way, and that His love will never fail us. In life, there are moments when the path ahead seems unclear, when the darkness of doubt clouds our vision, and we can't see beyond the immediate challenges. In these times, it's easy to lose sight of the truth that we are never truly alone. God, in His infinite wisdom, surrounds us with His angels, messengers of love and peace, who gently guide us through the hardest moments of our lives. It is through their quiet presence that we can find strength, comfort, and clarity, even when the storms around us threaten to overwhelm. The angels are always near, working on our behalf, to bring us peace in the midst of chaos, comfort when we feel broken, and a gentle nudge to remind us that we are loved and cared for. When life feels too heavy, the peace that the angels bring doesn't come from our ability to solve the problems we face. It comes from a deeper understanding that God's plan for us is greater than our current circumstance. We may not always understand why certain things happen, But the angels help us to trust in God's timing, reminding us that He is in control, even when everything else seems out of our control. As we face the unknown, we often find that the peace the angels offer is not simply an absence of turmoil, but a profound sense of calm that settles deep within us. This peace is not of this world. It is a gift from God that transcends all understanding. It guards our hearts and minds, helping us to let go of the fear, worry, and anxiety that often cloud our judgment. In these moments, we are reminded that God's love is constant and unchanging, no matter the storm we are walking through. The angels remind us of this love every day, whether it's through the quiet whispers of encouragement they offer, or the small miracles that happen when we least expect them. Their presence helps us to see beyond our immediate circumstances, helping us to trust that there is a greater purpose at work, even when we can't see the whole picture. It is easy to forget that the angels are always with us, but when we take a moment to pause and reflect, we often realize how present they have been in our lives. They are there in the gentle nudge to pray when we are feeling lost, in the unexpected kindness of a stranger when we are in need, and in the moments of peace that arrive just when we need them the most. Through their work, we are reminded that we are never forgotten, that God sees us, and that He has a plan for our lives that is greater than we can imagine. The angels guide us through the moments when we feel like giving up, urging us to continue on with faith, knowing that God will provide a way. Their guidance doesn't always come in the form of grand gestures, but rather in the small, quiet moments that make all the difference. It might be the feeling of calm that washes over us in the middle of a difficult decision, or the clarity that suddenly appears when we're facing an obstacle we can't seem to overcome. In these moments, the angels are with us, guiding us gently toward peace, reminding us that we are capable of more than we think, and that God is always with us, providing us with the strength we need to face the challenges ahead. We may not always recognize the angels in our lives, but their work is evident in the way we are able to move forward, even when we feel weak, uncertain, or afraid. They offer us the courage to take the next step, the strength to persevere, and the peace to rest in God's. They remind us that we are not defined by our struggles, but by the love and grace that God pours into our lives. The angels help us to see ourselves as God sees us, strong, capable, and worthy of His love. Through their guidance, we begin to understand that our challenges are not meant to break us, but to shape us into the people God has called us to be. The angels are not only present during times of trial, but also during times of joy. They celebrate with us in our victories, offering their love and support as we experience the beauty of life's blessings. In these moments of happiness, the angels remind us to give thanks for the gifts we have, to celebrate the love that surrounds us, and to trust that God's love is at work in every moment of our lives. The angels are witnesses to every part of our journey, both the highs and the lows, and they are always there to offer us the support we need, whether we are in a season of blessing or a season of trial. Even when we feel disconnected from the world around us, the angels are there, offering their guidance and comfort, reminding us that we are never alone. They help us to see the beauty in the simple moments, to recognize the blessings that are often hidden in the challenges we face, and to trust that God's love will always carry us through. The angels work silently, yet their impact is profound. They lead us through moments of fear, doubt, and confusion, helping us to trust in God's plan for us. They guide us through the wilderness of life, leading us toward the peace that comes from knowing that we are loved by a Creator who will never leave us. They remind us that we are part of something much greater than ourselves, and that our lives have meaning and purpose in God's grand design. In times of great distress, the angels provide us with a safe harbor, a place where we can rest and find peace in the midst of the storm. Their presence offers us comfort when we feel broken, and their guidance helps us to find our way when we are lost. Through their work, we are reminded that we are never far from God's love and that His plan for us is unfolding exactly as it should. As we continue on this journey of life, we can trust that the angels will always be with us, guiding us, protecting us, and leading us toward the peace that God has promised. Their presence is a reminder that we are never alone, that we are loved beyond measure, and that God's grace will always be sufficient for us, no matter what we face. The angels are messengers of God's love, and through them we are reminded of the depth of that love which carries us through every trial and leads us to the peace that surpasses all understanding. There are moments in life when we feel as though we're standing on the edge of an abyss, overwhelmed by the weight of everything around us. The uncertainty of the future, the heartache of loss, the stress of endless challenges. Sometimes it all seems like too much to bear. But even in the most overwhelming times, God's love is present, a steady, unshakable force that anchors us when we feel like we might fall apart. The angels, his messengers, are sent to guide us through these trying times, offering a sense of peace and comfort that transcends our human understanding. It is in these moments of struggle that we often experience the most profound sense of God's presence, and the angels are the ones who help us feel this closeness. When the world feels heavy, when our hearts ache with sorrow, and when our minds are consumed with worry, it is the gentle whisper of the angels that brings us back to a place of peace. They do not promise to remove the struggles, but they offer us the strength to face them. They remind us that God's love is constant, that we are never left to navigate this world alone. Even in the darkest hours, the angels are working behind the scenes to guide us, to help us find our way back to hope. In those moments when we feel like we can't take another step, when everything around us seems to be falling apart, the angels are there, providing the support we need to keep moving forward. They help us find the courage to rise again, to face each new day with renewed strength. This strength comes not from ourselves, but from the divine love and grace that flow through us, carried by the angels. The peace they bring is not a fleeting feeling, it is an enduring presence that stays with us even after the storm has passed. It is a peace that guards our hearts and minds, a peace that assures us we are loved and cared for. When we surrender to this peace, we are reminded that God's plan is greater than any difficulty we may face. The angels remind us that we are part of a larger story, a divine narrative that is unfolding perfectly, even when we don't understand it. In those quiet moments when we feel lost or disconnected, the angels help us reconnect with God's love. They whisper words of comfort to our hearts, guiding us back to the truth that we are cherished, that God sees us, and that He is with us in every moment. Their presence is a constant reminder that we are never alone, that we are deeply loved by a Creator who is always watching over us. As we face the trials of life, we can find comfort in knowing that the angels are there, quietly working on our behalf. They help us to trust in God's plan, even when it feels impossible to see the way forward. Their presence offers us the peace that we need to keep going, to continue to put one foot in front of the other, even when the path seems unclear. With the angels by our side, we can be confident that we are always moving in the right direction, even when we can't see the whole picture. This trust in God's plan doesn't mean that life will always be easy. It doesn't mean that we will never face hardships or challenges, but it does mean that we can face these challenges with the knowledge that we are not alone, that God is with us, and that His angels are helping us every step of the way. When we feel broken, the angels help us heal. When we feel weak, they help us find strength. When we feel lost, they help us find our way. And in all of these moments, they offer us peace, the kind of peace that only comes from God's love. The angels are not here to take away the struggles, but to help us find meaning and purpose in them. They help us see that our struggles are not meaningless, that every hardship we face is an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to draw closer to God. Through the angels, we are reminded that even in our darkest moments, God's love is still shining bright. It is a love that never wavers, a love that never fails, and a love that will carry us through anything we face. The angels help us to hold on to that love when everything else seems to be falling apart. They are the gentle reminders of God's faithfulness, always there to guide us when we are unsure, to comfort us when we are in pain, and to bring us peace when we feel restless. There are times when the angels intervene in ways that we cannot explain. We may find ourselves in a dangerous situation, only to experience an inexplicable sense of safety, as if something unseen is protecting us. We may feel a sudden sense of peace in the midst of chaos, or find the strength to forgive someone who has wronged us, even when it feels impossible. These moments are not coincidences. They are the work of the angels, sent by God to help us in ways that we often cannot see or understand. The angels are always at work, guiding us, protecting us, and leading us toward the peace that only God can provide. Their presence in our lives is a reminder that God is always with us, and that His love will never leave us. Even in our most challenging moments, the angels offer us the strength to keep going, the peace to rest in, and the love to heal our broken heart. Through their work, we are reminded that we are never alone. When we feel overwhelmed by the demands of life, when we feel like we are drowning in the struggles of this world, the angels are there, offering us a lifeline. They help us to rise above the challenges, to find the strength to keep moving forward, and to trust that God is working all things together for our good. The angels do not promise to make everything perfect, but they do promise to walk with us through the difficulties, to carry us when we are too weak to stand, and to offer us the peace that only comes from the love of God. As we walk through life, we can trust that the angels will always be with us, guiding us, protecting us, and leading us toward the peace that God has promised. Their presence is a constant reminder that we are never truly alone, that God is always with us, and that His love will carry us through every trial and challenge we face. The angels help us to see that we are part of a greater story, a story of redemption and hope, and that no matter what we face, we are always held in the loving hands of God. In the journey of life, there are times when the path ahead seems impossible to follow, when every step feels heavier than the last, and the future feels uncertain. We often find ourselves standing in the midst of trials that stretch our faith and test our strength. It is in these moments that we can feel the presence of something greater than ourselves, something that provides strength in our weakness, guidance when we are lost, and peace when everything around us feels chaotic. This presence is not always seen, but it is undeniably felt. It's the presence of angels, God's messengers, who work behind the scenes to guide us, comfort us, and remind us that we are never alone. The angels are sent by God to help us carry our burdens, to stand beside us when we feel like falling, and to help us remember that we are cherished and loved. They don't promise to remove the struggles we face, but they help us to navigate them with grace and peace. In times of great uncertainty, the angels bring a peace that cannot be explained by logic or circumstances. It's a peace that comes from a deep trust in God's plan for our lives, a trust that He is working all things together for our good, even when we don't see how. This peace doesn't come from the resolution of our problems, but from knowing that we are held in God's hands, and He is faithful to carry us through. There are times when we feel overwhelmed by the weight of our burdens, when our hearts feel heavy with sorrow or fear. In those moments, the angels are there, gently lifting us up and offering us the comfort we so desperately need. Their presence is a reminder that God is near, that He is watching over us, and that His love will never fail us. The angels bring us a sense of calm, a peace that settles deep within our hearts and minds, quieting the storm of fear and doubt that rages within us. It's in these moments when we feel at our lowest that we can experience the most profound peace. The angels remind us that we are never forgotten, that God sees us, and that His love for us is unwavering. Even when we cannot see the way forward, the angels help us trust in God's perfect timing, knowing that He is guiding us, even when the road ahead seems unclear. Through the angels, we are reminded that we are not alone in our struggles. We are part of a much larger story, a story of God's love and grace that transcends our present circumstance. The angels help us to see beyond the moment, to remember that there is a greater purpose to our pain, and that God is using it to shape us into the people He has called us to be. They help us see that our struggles are not in vain, that through them we are becoming stronger, more compassionate, and more like Christ. Even when life doesn't make sense, the angels help us to trust that God is still at work, bringing beauty from ashes and turning our trials into triumph. It is through the angels that we often feel the love of God most deeply. Their presence brings a sense of comfort and assurance, helping us to remember that God is near, that He is faithful, and that He is with us every step of the way. They offer us the peace that passes all understanding, a peace that guards our hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. When we are struggling, when we feel like we cannot go on, the angels help us to hold on to God's promises, reminding us that He will never leave us or forsake us. In times of distress, the angels offer us guidance, leading us to the answers we seek and the peace we long for. They help us discern God's will, pointing us toward the next step, even when we feel uncertain about the future. Their guidance is not always immediate, but it is always there, guiding us through the fog of confusion and leading us toward the clarity and peace that comes from trusting in God. There are times when we feel completely lost, when we are faced with decisions that seem impossible, when the weight of life feels unbearable. It is in these moments that the angels offer us direction. Through their quiet whispers, through the nudging of our hearts, they help us to find our way back to the path that God has set before us. Their guidance helps us to move forward with confidence, knowing that we are not alone, and that God is with us, guiding us through every decision and every challenge. Even when we can't see the way ahead, the angels help us trust that God's plan is unfolding exactly as it should. They remind us that our lives are not random, that everything has purpose, and that we are exactly where God wants us to be. When we feel overwhelmed, the angels are there, offering us the strength we need to face the challenges before us. Their presence reminds us that we are never alone in our struggles, that we are part of a larger story of God's love and redemption. The angels are always with us, even when we don't see them. They are working behind the scenes, providing us with the comfort, strength, and guidance we need to continue on our journey. In times of difficulty, they are the ones who hold us up when we feel like falling, who offer us peace when we are in turmoil, and who remind us that God's love will always carry us through. As we continue on the path that God has set before us, we can rest in the knowledge that the angels are with us, watching over us, guiding us, and helping us to find peace, even in the most difficult time. Their presence is a constant reminder that God is with us and that His love will never fail us. No matter what we face, we can be confident that the angels are always near, offering us the peace, comfort, and guidance we need to move forward with faith. The angels are the messengers of God's love, and through them we are reminded of the depth of that love, which sustains us through every trial and carries us to the peace that God has promised. When we face hardships, when we are struggling with fear, doubt, or confusion, the angels help us to remember that we are not alone. They remind us that God is always with us and that His love will always carry us through, no matter what challenges we may face. And in those moments, when we feel lost or broken, the angels help us find our way back to peace, back to trust in God, and back to the loving arms of our Heavenly Father. As we journey through life, there are moments when it feels like the weight of the world is simply too much to carry. Our hearts become burdened with doubt, anxiety, and fear, and we struggle to find our way. During these times, it can be difficult to see the light at the end of the tunnel, to hold on to the hope that everything will eventually be okay. But even in the most challenging of moments, there is a truth that remains unshaken. God's love is always present, and His angels are at work in ways we may not even fully understand. The angels are sent to surround us with God's love, to carry us when we are too weak to stand, and to offer us a peace that transcends all understanding. Even when life feels overwhelming and we feel completely alone, the angels are quietly at work, leading us toward the peace that comes from trusting in God's plan for our lives. Their presence is not always dramatic or loud, but it is deeply felt. The peace they offer us is not simply a temporary relief from our troubles. It is a deep, abiding peace that stays with us, even when the storms of life continue to rage around. It is a peace that fills the depths of our hearts, calming the fears and anxieties that threaten to overwhelm us, and helping us to see beyond our immediate circumstances. The angels help us trust that God is at work, even when we cannot see His hand at work in our lives. Through their guidance, they help us see that our struggles are not without purpose, that they are shaping us and preparing us for the future that God has in store for us. When everything seems impossible, the angels remind us that God has a plan, even when we cannot see how things will work out. It's in the quiet moments of our lives, when we feel most vulnerable, that the angels' presence becomes most apparent. They are the silent companions who walk alongside us through every trial and every hardship. They do not promise to take away the difficulties we face, but they do offer us the strength to endure, the peace to find rest, and the hope to keep moving forward. Their presence is a constant reminder that we are never truly alone, that God's love surrounds us, and that His angels are always near, offering us the support we need to face life's challenges. It is through the angels that we often experience God's love in the most tangible way. Their comfort, guidance, and protection help us to find the peace we need in times of distress. The angels do not ask for our attention or recognition. They simply do their work, quietly and faithfully, trusting that God is using them to help us. Their presence is a gift, one that reminds us that no matter how difficult our circumstances may be, we are loved by a Creator who will never leave us. In times of confusion, the angels help us find clarity. When we are uncertain about which direction to take, they gently nudge us in the right direction. They help us discern God's will for our lives, leading us toward the path that will bring us peace and fulfillment. Their guidance may come in the form of a thought, a feeling, or an unexpected encounter that leads us to a new understanding of God's plan. Even when we feel lost, the angels are there, gently guiding us back to the light, reminding us that God's love will never fail us. Their work is often unseen, but it is always present. It is in the moments when we least expect it that the angels bring us the peace we need. It might be in a quiet moment of prayer, when we feel God's presence more strongly than ever. Or it could be during a difficult conversation, when a word of encouragement from a friend helps us find our way. Sometimes it is as simple as a quiet, knowing feeling that washes over us, reminding us that everything is going to be okay, even when we can't see how. The angels are always near, quietly working in our lives, bringing us the peace that only God can provide. Even in our most difficult moments, when the weight of the world feels unbearable, the angels help us to find the strength to keep going. They remind us that we do not have to carry our burdens alone and that we can trust in God to help us navigate the challenges ahead. It is through the angels that we come to understand that our strength does not come from ourselves, but from the love and grace of God. The angels help us to lean on God, to trust in His provision, and to surrender our fears and worries to Him. In doing so, we open ourselves up to the peace that He offers, a peace that goes beyond anything we could ever imagine. There are moments when the peace the angels bring feels so tangible that it fills the very air around us. It's as if the weight of our troubles is lifted and we are able to breathe freely again. This peace doesn't make sense to the rational mind because our circumstances haven't changed, but in the depths of our hearts, we know that something profound has shifted. It is the work of God's angels, quietly reminding us that we are held in His hands and that His love will never fail us. The peace they bring is not a fleeting moment, but a deep, lasting comfort that stays with us long after the storm has passed. The angels' role in our lives is not just to provide comfort, but also to help us grow. They guide us toward the people, the experiences, and the lessons that will help us become the people God has called us to be. They help us to embrace the challenges of life with faith, knowing that each one is an opportunity for growth and transformation. Through the angels, we come to understand that every hardship is a chance to become more like Christ, to reflect His love and grace to the world around us. Their presence reminds us that we are always growing, always learning, and always being shaped into the image of our Creator. Even in the midst of the hardest times, the angels are there, helping us to see the purpose in our struggles and to find peace in the process. As we walk through life, we can be confident that the angels are with us every step of the way, offering us the strength to endure, the peace to rest in, and the love to carry us through. Their presence is a constant reminder that we are never alone, that God's love is always with us, and that His angels are here to help us navigate the challenges of life with grace and peace. In the moments when we feel lost or broken, the angels help us find our way back to God's love, back to peace, and back to the truth that we are always held in His care. The angels, messengers of God's love, bring us the comfort and peace we need to keep going, reminding us that no matter what we face, God is with us, and His love will always carry us through. As we continue on this journey of life, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the burdens we carry, the challenges we face, and the unknown future that stretches before us. When life feels like a constant uphill battle, it's hard to find the strength to keep moving forward, especially when it seems as though we are facing these trials alone. Yet in these moments of struggle and uncertainty, God's angels are quietly working on our behalf, offering us the strength we need to carry on, the peace that we long for, and the hope that can only come from His divine presence. The angels are not merely passive observers of our lives. They are active participants, working tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure that we are never truly alone. Their presence may not always be obvious, but when we open our hearts and minds to the reality of their guidance and protection, we begin to see just how deeply they are involved in our lives. It is in the moments of difficulty, the moments when we feel the most broken, that the angels show up in the most profound way. When we feel overwhelmed by the weight of our struggles, the angels gently lift us up, reminding us that we are loved, cared for, and supported by a divine force far greater than ourselves. This love, which flows through the angels, is not a love that seeks to remove the struggles we face, but a love that empowers us to endure, to persevere, and to grow stronger through the challenges. The angels bring us peace not by changing our circumstances, but by helping us see beyond them. In moments of doubt and fear, they help us remember that our circumstances do not define us. We are defined by God's love, which is unshakable and eternal, and the angels are the ones who remind us of this truth when we can't see it for ourselves. Through the quiet whispers of their presence, we are reminded that no matter how difficult our circumstances may seem, we are never alone. The angels are sent by God to provide us with the courage we need to face each day, to offer us guidance when we are unsure, and to give us the peace we need to continue on. Their presence is a testament to the fact that God's love is with us in every moment, even in the darkest time. It is through the angels that we come to understand the depth of God's love and how He is working in every aspect of our lives, even in the most challenging and difficult moments. When life becomes overwhelming, when we feel like we are drowning in uncertainty and fear, the angels help us to find the strength to keep moving forward. They offer us the assurance that we are not alone, that we are not forgotten, and that God has a plan for our lives. This reassurance doesn't come from the removal of our challenges, but from the presence of God's angels, who help us see that even in the midst of hardship, God is with us, guiding us, and offering us the peace that surpasses all understanding. The angels help us to trust in God's plan, even when we don't fully understand it. They gently nudge us toward the right path, offering us guidance and comfort in the midst of uncertainty. In moments of confusion or fear, they help us to rest in the knowledge that God is in control, that His love is unwavering, and that His plan for us is far greater than anything we could ever imagine. When we face the storms of life, the angels are the ones who help us to find shelter in the arms of God. They guide us to places of peace, comfort, and strength, helping us to keep moving forward, even when we feel like we can't take another step. Their presence is a reminder that God is always with us, even when we feel isolated or alone. It's in these moments that the angels help us see that the pain we are experiencing is not the end of our story. The challenges we face, the struggles we endure, are all part of God's greater plan for our lives. Through the angels, we are reminded that every hardship is an opportunity for growth, that God is refining us, shaping us, and preparing us for the future He has in store for us. The angels are the ones who help us see beyond the struggles and the pain, guiding us to a place where we can trust in God's plan, knowing that He is working all things together for our good. Their presence is a reminder that even when we cannot see the way forward, God is leading us, and He is always with us. The peace that the angels bring is not a fleeting feeling, but a deep, lasting peace that fills our hearts with the assurance that we are loved and cared for by God. In the moments when we feel overwhelmed by life's challenges, the angels help us to pause, take a deep breath, and remember that we are never alone. Their guidance helps us to find the strength to keep going, the courage to face each day, and the peace to rest in the knowledge that God's love is always with us. It is through the angels that we come to understand that we are part of a much larger story, a story that is being written by God, and that every chapter, no matter how difficult, is part of His divine plan. The angels remind us that we are not defined by our struggles, but by the love and grace of God, who works in every moment to bring us closer to Him. When we face moments of fear, doubt, or confusion, the angels are the ones who help us see that we can trust in God's plan, knowing that He will guide us, protect us, and provide for us. In the moments when we feel like we are losing our way, the angels gently nudge us back on track, offering us the peace that comes from trusting in God's perfect timing. Their work is not always visible, but their impact is profound. When we take a moment to reflect, we realize that the angels have been with us all along, helping us to navigate the challenges of life, offering us comfort and guiding us back to God's love. Their presence is a gift, one that reminds us that we are never alone in our struggles and that God's love is always with us, providing us with the strength, peace, and guidance we need to keep going. The angels are messengers of God's love, sent to offer us the peace that only He can provide. They are the ones who help us remember that no matter what we face, God is always with us, guiding us and helping us to trust in His plan. Through their presence, we are reminded that we are not alone and that God's love will carry us through every trial and challenge we face. The angels are the silent companions who walk with us through life, offering us comfort, guidance, and peace every step of the way. As we continue our journey through life, we often encounter moments of uncertainty that challenge our very sense of direction. In these moments when we feel lost or overwhelmed, it is easy to question everything we've known and believed. But in the midst of these storms, there exists a quiet, unwavering presence, one that never abandons us, even when everything else seems to fall apart. This presence is God's love, which is delivered through His messengers, the angels. They are the silent warriors, guiding us through the battles we face, offering us peace when we feel troubled, and helping us to see the world through God's eyes. The angels are not just protectors, they are the hands that lift us when we fall, the voices that whisper hope in the midst of despair, and the light that shines when all seems dark. Their presence is not always loud or dramatic, but it is deeply felt, quietly working in the background to keep us safe, calm, and on the right path. Through the angels, God reminds us that His love is ever present, even when we can't see it. The peace they offer is not based on our circumstances changing, but on the deep, unshakable truth that we are loved beyond measure. The angels help us to hold on to this truth when everything around us seems uncertain. They remind us that even in the darkest times, God is still in control and working all things together for our good. It is in these times when we feel overwhelmed by the weight of the world that the angels bring us the peace that transcends all understanding. This peace is not a temporary fix to our troubles, but a deep, abiding comfort that settles within us and stays with us even after the storm has passed. It is a peace that helps us to let go of our fears, our worries, and our doubts, knowing that God's angels are by our side, guiding us and protecting us every step of the way. In times of hardship, the angels are there, reminding us that we are not alone in our struggle. They help us to see that our pain, our heartache, and our fears are not the end of the story. Through the angels, we are reminded that God is using our trials to shape us, to refine us, and to draw us closer to Him. Every challenge we face, every obstacle we encounter, is an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to become more like Christ. The angels encourage us to press on, even when the road ahead seems unclear, because they know that each step we take brings us closer to the purpose that God has for us. The angels do not promise to take away our pain, but they promise to be with us through it all. Their presence helps us to see that even in our suffering, God's love is still at work, transforming us and preparing us for something greater. It is through the angels that we begin to understand the depth of God's love, a love that is unconditional, unchanging, and eternal. They help us to trust that no matter what we face, God will never leave us, and His love will always carry us through. The peace that the angels bring does not just calm our hearts in times of distress, but it also strengthens us, helping us to stand firm in the face of adversity. It is a peace that empowers us to rise above our circumstances, to continue moving forward with faith, even when we don't know how the story will end. The angels remind us that God's love is always sufficient for us, and that no matter how heavy the burden, we can trust that He will give us the strength to endure. There are moments in life when we feel as though we have reached the end of our rope, when we don't know how we can keep going. But it is in these moments that the angels step in, offering us the comfort and strength we need to take one more step. They don't always provide immediate solutions to our problems, but they bring us the peace that allows us to trust that God is working behind the scenes, even when we can't see it. Their presence is a constant reminder that God has a plan for us, and that no matter how difficult life may seem, we are never alone in our struggles. The angels help us to hold on to hope, even when everything around us feels hopeless. They help us to see that our current struggles are not permanent, that God's love will carry us through, and that a brighter future awaits. In every season of life, whether in times of joy or sorrow, the angels are there, walking alongside us, offering their love, protection, and guidance. Their work is not always visible, but it is always present, quietly shaping the course of our lives in ways that we may never fully understand. But even in the times when we can't see the angels, we can trust that they are there, watching over us, guiding us, and helping us to find our way. Through the angels, we are reminded that life is not about the struggles we face, but about the way we respond to them. They help us to see that our strength doesn't come from ourselves, but from God's love and grace. It is through the angels that we learn to trust in God's perfect timing, to let go of our fears, and to walk forward in faith. The angels help us to embrace each moment of our lives, knowing that every moment is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become more like Christ. In the midst of life's challenges, we can find peace in the knowledge that the angels are always with us, offering their love, guidance, and protection. They help us to navigate the stormy seas of life, bringing us safely to the shore of God's love. No matter what we face, the angels remind us that God's love will always carry us through. And when we come to the end of this journey, we can rest in the assurance that God's angels have been with us every step of the way, guiding us, protecting us, and leading us toward the peace that comes from being in His presence. Their work is never finished, and their love for us is eternal, a constant reminder that we are never alone, that God's love surrounds us, and that His angels will always be there, offering us peace, comfort, and guidance. As we continue to navigate the complexities of life, there are moments when everything around us feels unpredictable and overwhelming. It's easy to feel lost, adrift, or uncertain about the future when the weight of responsibilities, challenges, and hardships bear down on us. We may ask ourselves, how much more can I endure? The answer often seems elusive, and the path forward appears foggy and unclear. In these times, it is essential to remember that we are not walking this journey alone. God's love surrounds us in ways that may not always be immediately apparent, but His presence is always there. His angels, His messengers, are continually by our side, guiding us, protecting us, and offering us a peace that is not of this world. The presence of the angels may not always be visible to the naked eye, but their influence in our lives is undeniable. In moments when we feel hopeless, the angels are the ones who help us regain our perspective, reminding us that even the darkest of times can be transformed by the light of God's love. They are sent to offer us comfort in the most trying of circumstances, to guide us through periods of confusion and doubt, and to strengthen us when our faith falters. It is through their quiet presence that we are reminded that we are loved, cherished, and never truly alone. When we face difficulties, the angels help us to see beyond the immediate challenges. They offer us the strength to rise above our circumstances, to trust in God's perfect plan, and to hold on to the assurance that He is working all things together for our good. Their presence brings us the peace we need to face the challenges ahead. Even when the road seems treacherous, Their guidance doesn't always come in the form of direct answers or clear signs, but rather through the quiet reassurance that God's love is with us every step of the way. In moments of fear, doubt, and uncertainty, we can find solace in the fact that we are surrounded by angels watching over us, keeping us safe, and guiding us toward God's greater purpose. The peace they offer is not a fleeting comfort, it is a lasting peace that permeates our hearts and minds, helping us find rest even in the midst of life's storms. It is a peace that doesn't rely on our understanding of the situation, but rather on the trust that God's love is greater than any trial we face. The angels help us to trust in God's timing, even when it feels as though the weight is unbearable. In moments of impatience or frustration, when we feel like giving up, the angels offer us the quiet reminder to trust that God knows what is best for us. They help us to surrender our desires and anxieties to God, knowing that He is working everything out in His perfect way and timing. This surrender is not about giving up, but about letting go of the illusion of control and placing our trust fully in God. It is through the angels that we learn to let go of our need to understand everything and simply rest in God's care. As we continue to face the uncertainties and struggles of life, it's important to remember that the angels are never far from us. They are always watching, waiting, and ready to offer their guidance when we need it most. They are the constant companions who walk beside us, offering their strength when we feel weak and their peace when we feel troubled. Through their work, we learn that God is always with us, even in the most difficult of times. Their presence reminds us that God is our refuge, our shelter, and our strength, and that we can trust Him to provide us with what we need when we need it most. The angels do not take away our struggles, but they help us to navigate them with grace and faith. In times of uncertainty, when we are unsure of the next step, the angels help us to take the first step in trust, knowing that God will lead us where we need to go. They encourage us to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear, knowing that God's love is enough to carry us through. It is the angels who help us find the courage to face the future, even when it seems daunting. They are there to remind us that God is faithful and that His plans for us are always good, even when we cannot see the full. Through their presence, we learn that we do not have to know all the answers to trust in God's plan. The angels encourage us to walk by faith, knowing that God is working behind the scenes, even when we can't. In the moments when we feel most vulnerable, the angels offer us the protection we need. They help us to feel safe, secure, and held in God's loving arms. Whether we face physical danger, emotional distress, or spiritual challenges, the angels are there to shield us from harm and to guide us toward the peace that only God can provide. Their protection is a reminder that we are not alone in the struggles of life, and that God's love is a constant source of refuge and strength. The angels help us to see that we are never abandoned, even when it feels like everything around us is falling apart. As we move through life, the angels are the quiet, unseen forces that help us to stay grounded in God's love. They offer us moments of peace in the midst of chaos, reminders of God's presence when we feel lost, and strength when we feel weak. Through their work, we come to understand that God's love is always with us, even in our darkest moments. The angels are sent to guide us, protect us, and remind us of the eternal love that God has for us. Their presence is a reflection of God's love, and through them we are reminded that we are never far from His heart. In every season of life, the angels are there, offering us the peace, comfort, and strength we need to continue. Through their work, we learn to trust more fully in God, to surrender our worries to Him, and to rest in the peace that only He can provide. The angels are the messengers of God's love, sent to offer us hope, guidance, and comfort in every season of life. Their presence reminds us that no matter what we face, we are never alone, and that God's love is always with us. The angels are the ones who help us to navigate the challenges of life with faith, grace, and peace, knowing that we are always held in God's loving hand. As we journey deeper into the experience of life, we come to realize that we are not just individuals navigating a world full of challenges, but we are part of a much greater divine plan, one that is shaped by a love that transcends all understanding. In moments of struggle, when it feels as though our burdens are too heavy to bear, there is always a quiet reminder that God is with us, and His angels are standing beside us. Their presence is often unnoticed, but when we stop and take a moment to reflect, we realize that their influence in our lives is undeniable. The angels are not merely celestial beings watching from afar. They are actively engaged in the intricate details of our lives, working tirelessly to ensure that we are cared for, protected, and guided toward God's perfect purpose for us. The peace they bring is not something that can be manufactured by human effort, nor is it something that can be understood through logic or reason. It is a peace that comes from a place much deeper than our circumstances, a peace that resides in the very heart of God's love. In times of overwhelming fear, anxiety, or doubt, the angels provide us with this peace, helping us to rest in the assurance that we are never truly alone, even when the world feels like it's falling apart. This peace is a profound, soul-deep knowing that despite everything, we are held firmly in God's hands, and that His love is unfailing. It doesn't mean that life will suddenly become easier, or that our struggles will What it does mean is that even in the midst of our trials, we can experience a sense of calm that allows us to keep moving forward, step by step, trusting that God has a plan and that we are part of it. The angels help us to see beyond our present circumstances and remind us that our journey, though filled with hardships, is leading us towards something much greater than what we can comprehend. They help us to understand that every trial, every difficult moment, has a divine purpose. It is in these times of difficulty that we learn to trust more fully in God's provision, to surrender our fears and anxieties, and to lean into the divine strength that God provides. The angels are the ones who help us realize that we don't have to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders alone. They are here to share in our burdens, to lift us up when we can't stand on our own, and to help us see that we are never without support. In the quietest of moments, when everything else seems to fade away, the presence of the angels becomes most apparent. Their guidance is gentle yet firm, and their messages, though subtle, are always clear. They help us navigate life's complexities, guiding us toward the decisions that align with God's will, offering us the strength to do what we may not feel capable of, and reminding us that every step we take is a part of God's grand design. Even when we feel unsure of the path ahead, the angels are there, helping us to find the courage to keep moving forward. Their presence in our lives is a constant reminder that we are never abandoned. The angels also serve as messengers of God's grace, offering us reminders of His promises and the incredible power of His love. Through their work, we are encouraged to stay focused on God's goodness and His faithfulness, especially in moments when it feels as though everything is falling apart. In times of doubt, the angels help us to see that our struggles are not meaningless. Instead, they are opportunities for us to grow in our faith, to become more reliant on God, and to learn to trust in His perfect timing. The angels guide us toward this understanding, helping us to embrace our difficulties with the assurance that through them, we are becoming the people God has called us to be. In moments of suffering, the angels bring us comfort, reminding us that God has not forsaken us. They help us to rest in His love, knowing that He sees our pain and that He is using it to shape us into something greater. The angels offer us the hope that even when it feels as though life is overwhelming, there is a purpose in everything. They remind us that the light of God's love will always shine through the darkness, and that no matter what we face, we are never alone. As we walk through life, the angels help us to find meaning in every step. They help us see that even in our struggles, God is at work, refining us, teaching us, and preparing us for the blessings that lie ahead. Through the angels, we are reminded that our journey is not in vain, and that every trial we face is an opportunity to grow closer to God and to become more like Christ. The peace that the angels bring is not a temporary escape from our problems, but a deep, lasting comfort that allows us to endure. It is a peace that gives us the strength to continue on, even when the road ahead seems uncertain and the path unclear. With the angels by our side, we can face whatever challenges come our way, knowing that God is with us, guiding us, and providing us with the strength and courage we need to persevere. Through the angels, God offers us His love, His protection, and His peace in ways that we could never have imagined. They are His messengers, sent to remind us that we are loved beyond measure, that we are never forgotten, and that His plans for us are always for good. The angels bring us the assurance that no matter what we face in this life, we are always in the hands of a loving and faithful God. The journey may not always be easy, but with the angels by our side, we can face it with confidence, knowing that God is with us every step of the way. Through the angels, God teaches us to trust in His perfect plan, to surrender our fears and anxieties, and to embrace the peace that comes from knowing that we are loved, cherished, and never alone. The angels are a constant reminder that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves, and that God's love is always at work in our lives, bringing us peace, strength, and hope. As we move through the journey of life, we may encounter moments where the world around us seems overwhelming, and the challenges we face feel insurmountable. The weight of our responsibilities, the fears that we carry, and the uncertainty about the future can often cloud our vision and our ability to see beyond the immediate struggles. In these moments, it is easy to feel lost, as though we are walking through life alone, without direction or purpose. But even in the darkest moments, when it feels as though all hope is fading, we can find strength in the quiet truth that we are never alone. God's love, like a steady, unwavering light, is always present, surrounding us, guiding us, and protecting us. His angels, messengers of His divine presence, are constantly at work in our lives, helping us navigate the difficulties we face, offering us peace when we feel troubled, and reminding us that there is always a greater purpose unfolding, even when we cannot see it. These divine beings, though invisible to the eye, are always present, working quietly behind the scenes to ensure that we are safe, loved, and never forgotten. They do not promise to eliminate our struggles or make life easier. What they offer is the strength to endure, the courage to keep going, and the peace that comes from trusting in God's perfect plan. When life feels impossible, the angels help us to hold on to hope. They guide us through the storm, providing comfort in our sorrow, light in our darkness, and peace amidst the chaos. The angels are not only guides and protectors, but they are also constant reminders of God's love and faithfulness. They help us to remember that no matter how heavy our burdens may feel, God is always with us, walking alongside us, carrying us when we can no longer carry ourselves. This love, which flows through the angels, is a reminder that we are deeply valued by God, that we are seen, heard, and loved beyond measure. It is a love that does not waver in the face of our flaws, our mistakes, or our challenges. It is a love that is steadfast, unyielding, and eternal, and it is this love that gives us the strength to face each new day. The peace the angels bring is not based on the absence of conflict, but on the presence of God. Even when the world around us is in turmoil, the peace that the angels offer remains constant, helping us to find rest in the knowledge that God is in control. It is a peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that settles deep in our hearts, and a peace that carries us through the storms of life. In moments when we feel overwhelmed, the angels help us to see that we do not have to face our trials alone. They remind us that God's love is greater than any difficulty we encounter, and that His presence is always with us. When we are weary, the angels offer us rest. When we are lost, they help us find our way. When we are broken, they bring healing. They remind us that every challenge we face is an opportunity to grow in faith, to deepen our trust in God, and to become more like Christ. The angels help us to see that our struggles are not in vain, and that through them, we are being transformed, shaped into the people God has called us to be. They help us to recognize that even in the most difficult moments, God is at work, refining us, preparing us for the future that He has planned. It is through the angels that we are able to find meaning in our suffering. They help us to embrace our trials with the understanding that God is using them to draw us closer to Him. The angels encourage us to surrender our fears and doubts to God, knowing that His love is sufficient to carry us through. Through their guidance, we learn to trust in God's perfect timing and to rest in the peace that only He can provide. The angels do not take away our struggles, but they give us the strength to endure them. They help us to face the challenges of life with grace and faith, knowing that we are never alone. They offer us a sense of calm in the midst of chaos and help us to see beyond our immediate circumstances to the greater purpose that God is working out in our lives. The angels are messengers of God's love, sent to remind us that we are always loved, always cared for, and always held in the loving hands of our Creator. Their presence in our lives is a testament to the fact that God is with us, guiding us, protecting us, and leading us toward His greater plan. When life becomes difficult, the angels are there to provide the support we need. They offer us hope when we feel hopeless, peace when we feel restless, and strength when we feel weak. Through their work, we are reminded that God's love is always with us, that He is working in every moment, even when we cannot see it. The angels help us to trust in God's plan, even when the way forward seems unclear. They remind us that we do not have to have all the answers, but we must trust that God will lead us through each step. The angels help us to surrender our worries and doubts to God, knowing that He will provide for us in His perfect way and time. They help us to rest in the knowledge that no matter what we face, God is always with us, guiding us, protecting us, and leading us toward His ultimate purpose for our lives. The angels are God's messengers of peace, comfort, and strength. They remind us that we are never alone, that we are always surrounded by God's love, and that He is always working on our behalf. Through their presence, we are reminded that we are part of a much larger story, one that is being written by a loving Creator who has a plan for our lives. As we continue on this journey, we can rest in the assurance that the angels are with us, offering us guidance, protection, and the peace we need to keep moving forward. Their presence is a reminder that no matter what we face, we are loved, cherished, and never truly alone.